Hey, Big Cheese here from Big Cheese Adventures, and we got our 48 states trip done, and I'm going to talk to you and show you some of the metrics and the data from the trip. I know some of you have been asking about that, so here we go. Some data from our trip. So, first thing, here is the final map. For those of you who watched our videos, you'll recognize this map. So, just went over and highlighted it with our actual route. So, this is the actual route we used, and took us 9 days, over 10 days, but it was nine 24-hour periods to do, just under 9,000 miles, and we hit all 48 of the lower 48 states. And there's the actual route we took. All right, next I'm going to talk a little bit about the gas. So, how much gas did we use? We used 355.571 gallons. That cost us a total of $965.65 for an average price of 271.5 or 2715 per gallon. So our cheapest gas we got was in Oklahoma City, and we paid 2039 per gallon. And the most expensive gas we got was in Victorville at 399 a gallon. That was an expensive tank of gas. We were very low on gas when we came in to Victorville, stopped at the first gas station and tanked up. I think that was over $70 for that tank of gas, so that was pretty expensive. We know we got over 25 miles per gallon for the whole trip. We're not sure the exact amount for the actual loop because we didn't get the exact mileage, and we used the car a little bit before and after the trip, so we don't have that mileage included. So, but we do know it was over 25 miles per gallon for the whole trip, which is pretty impressive considering we were driving on the highway at at least sort of 10 over the speed limit pretty much the whole time. There was a point in South Dakota that I was going about 89, 90 miles an hour for about 3 hours. That Chrysler Pacifica, I'm not sure the engine in it, but I have a feeling it was like a turbo four-cylinder. I don't think it was a big engine. So 25 miles per gallon over the whole trip is pretty darn good. I didn't feel like it was underpowered. It had enough sort of pep and get up and go that it wasn't a problem. So, um, man, they've improved that because I know the current van that we have, that's now granted it's 10 years old, averages about 19 to 20 miles per gallon when you're doing highway driving at that kind of speeds. So there's our gas usage for those of you that are interested. The next thing I'm going to talk about is our overall costs for the trip. So starting off with food, the total there was $266.59. So that includes all of our restaurants and groceries for the trip. So before the trip started, I went and bought some groceries. We had some bread, cheese, some sandwich meat, some carrot sticks, some lettuce, tomato, had some Red Bulls. We had some snacks. We had some breakfast crackers. We had some fig bars. We had Cliff bars, a couple other things like that. We didn't do a lot of restaurants during the trip or eating out. We had breakfast each morning at the hotel. That was typically included in our hotels. And other than that, let's see, we ate out in Lewiston. We had dinner in Lewiston. Fast forward, where else did we stop to eat? We stopped in Buffalo. We were sick and tired of sitting in the van all day, and we had food in Buffalo. Then where else did we stop? We stopped in Newark, Delaware. We went to a Chipotle there. In Buffalo, we went for Vietnamese pho. Um, Newark, Delaware. Then where else did we stop? There was a Burger King somewhere. And then there was a Taco Bell, and that's pretty much it. There was one hotel we paid a little bit for breakfast, but that's pretty much it for the food. So a total of 266.59, pretty good. The gas, as I mentioned, $965. Our hotels were $450, 455.73. Now, the first half of the trip, I was using points. So I used up all my points the first 5 nights, and then the last 4 nights we paid for hotels. So That number should probably be a little bit more than doubled to be kind of realistic. Few other expenses. We had to buy a new Sharpie in Delaware because our other one had been kind of dried out and was kind of not very good. Massachusetts, I bought some windshield washer fluid because we were out. Bought a bag of ice in New York State, needed some more ice for the cooler, and a charger cable for the GoPro that we bought right at the beginning because where the GoPro was in the car and where the plug-in was, I didn't have a long enough charger cable, so I had to buy one. The vehicle rental, $598.25, pretty good deal for that. Road tolls, $80.95. So where did we pay toll? We paid toll coming through Chicago, going through Indiana, going across Ohio, going through New York, paid tolls, then coming down like through New York, the New Jersey Turnpike, then into like Delaware. Then we paid toll. Where else did we pay toll? We paid toll going through Oklahoma. So those were the places where we paid tolls. We did take toll roads because they were the fastest way to get places. So we decided to just bite the bullet and pay the tolls because otherwise it would have taken us a lot longer. So if you add all that up, it comes to $2,399.56 or $266.62 per day for everything. That's all inclusive, which for two people for 10 days is not too bad. So that's our actual total cost for the trip. The next thing is just sort of a breakdown of how far we went each day and what our costs were broken down by day. So the first day we left at 1:30 in the afternoon from Santa Ana, and we got to Sparks, Nevada for a total that day of 517.7 miles, and we spent $124.62. The next day, the 17th of November, we drove to Missoula, Montana, for a total of 891.8 miles that day, and spent $184.33 for a total of 1,409 miles. On the 18th of November, that was our biggest day. We made it from Missoula all the way to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, for a total of 1,250 miles that day, spent $149. We made great time. There were the highways had very high speed limits. As I mentioned, through Sioux Falls, I was doing 89 and 90 miles an hour the whole way. The speed limit was 80. That was about 3 or 4 hours at that speed going across South Dakota. Montana had high speed limits as well, so that was a really good day. The previous day, that day 2, that 891 miles, that was two things. That was kind of slowed down in Idaho. The speed limits were kind of low, and there was a lot of little towns that the road went through. We were not on a freeway, and so the road, we had to slow down going through towns, and there was a fair bit of traffic, so we did not make very good time that day. The next day, we made it to Toledo, Ohio for 964 miles and a total of 3,624 and spent $143. The next day we made it to Warwick, Rhode Island for a total of 956.4 miles. A little bit slowed down through Vermont and New Hampshire. It's kind of slow going through there, but spent $167. The next day we made it to Knoxville, Tennessee for 878 miles and a total of 5,458, spent $125. That was another slow day. That was the day before Thanksgiving. And coming through Maryland and Virginia, there was a lot of traffic. So bumped up a lot of traffic, and it was slow going there. The next day we made it to Covington, Louisiana. We probably could have gone further, but we were kind of tired. That was Thanksgiving Day. We got in early. We had a good night's sleep. We spent $180 that day. 904 miles for a total of 6,363. The next day, our next really big day, we made it all the way to Amarillo, Texas. That was a long day and a late night for 1,247.9 miles. It felt much longer than that day 3 because the speeds were not quite as high. That was a really long day. Got us to 7,611 miles. We spent $244 that day. The last day we were out, we got to Kingman, Arizona, for 964 miles and a total of 8,575, and we spent $226. The last day, we got back to Santa Ana, our starting spot, at about, I think it was about 10:30, 11, I forget what the exact time was, but sometime in that morning. It was 320 miles for a grand total of 8,895.8 miles for the loop, hitting all 48 states from Santa Ana to Santa Ana. That last day we spent $853, but that included the vehicle rental at $598. Otherwise it would have been $254. Some expensive gas in Victorville. So in Victorville, that was a $70 a tank of gas, $3.99 a gallon, and we were low, so we topped up. It was a big tank of gas there, and that was expensive. Those last 4 days, you can see they're highlighted. That included hotels that we paid for. We didn't pay for hotels the previous nights. We used my points. So, those other days, if you added on sort of $100-ish to those, that would kind of bump them up a little bit. So that's a breakdown of some of the costs, our mileages, gas mileage, and so on for the trip. It was about what I expected. The gas mileage for the van, actually, I was impressed with that. I thought it wouldn't have gotten quite as good gas mileage, but got really good gas mileage. Chrysler Pacifica, that's a pretty good vehicle. It was the right vehicle for this trip. So that's my metrics and data for the trip. Hope you enjoy that. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Remember we're still working on the time lapse for the whole trip. That's coming. So stay tuned for that. Stay subscribed. We got other videos coming. If you like it, please like it. Add your comments. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Big Cheese Adventures on Instagram. Really appreciate that. Thanks a lot, and talk to you soon.